Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum to fellow listeners for the second International Conference on Humanities, Business, Education, Social Sciences, Technology 2023. My name is Dr. Hajah Nur Annisa binti Haji Sarbini, and I am from the University Islam Sultan Sharif Ali, UNISSA, Brunei, Darussalam. And today I will present our findings on research funded by the University Research Leave and Grant entitled Employees' Perception of Work from Home, a case study in an organization in Brunei. I was the principal researcher for this research, and with me are my fellow colleagues, Professor Dr. Razali Madzin and Dr. Kaisar Ali, who were also the co-authors for this paper. So first things first, the content of my presentation is divided into these topics. First one, I will do the introduction and then a little bit about the literature review. Then I'll discuss about the methodology that we used for this research, then the findings and analysis, and then we will talk about the discussion based on what we found, and lastly, concluding the paper. So without further ado, I believe we do not need to introduce what COVID-19 pandemic was, as I am pretty sure that we all have experienced being in that social distancing era. As COVID-19 was something that we did not expect, and it had completely changed our daily lives, how we work, how we interact. So what more towards the working environment, how much it has changed how we work, how we interact with other people. We learned that one of the most effective strategies to combat COVID-19 was to work from home. But obviously, we can see how those employees and their organizations were not ready for work from home, as Morikawa 2022 stated that even in major advanced countries like the United States of America and the United Kingdom, only about 10% of the workers had prior work from home experience. So in Brunei, work from home was not part of a work culture in the organization, although there are still a few exceptions where some private organizations have given the flexibility to work from home for their employees. So apart from taking Brunei as a case study for this research, we would also like to highlight Brunei being an Islamic country where our national philosophy of Malay Islamic monarchy, or in Malay, Melayu Islam Beraja, is deeply embedded and rooted in the hearts of all Bruneians. With that being said, when COVID-19 hit the country, when COVID-19 hit the rest of the world, and as we watched the world slowly shutting down their borders, Brunei at that time felt like we were living in a bubble, because we know that we are not in the top list of tourist destinations. Therefore, we somewhat minimize the risk of the pandemic reaching us quicker than what it took with the rest of the world. However, eventually, obviously, we are not excluded from the pandemic as it reached Brunei in March 2022. So, for these reasons alone, we decided to venture into this research to find out how the COVID-19 impact the way people work, especially when organizations adopt the work from home arrangement. So we begin with understanding the concept of work from home. So for now, the concept of work from home obviously is not anymore foreign. Because according to Sarah Seni 2020, the concept of alternative work arrangements represents a growing trend within many organizations to shift the once common models of working to newer paradigms. Among many options, these include models where employees may work from somewhere other than the primary physical office space, which is also known as remote working, or employees no longer possess a personal desk at their office, and this is called desk sharing. So, both remote working and desk sharing often require employees to adapt to a mode of working far different than they are accustomed to, yielding a range of conflicting options, different pros and cons, and also unique experiences along the way. So we can say that work from home indeed has transformed the existing work settings of employees, having noticeable changes in their performance and productivity of firms. These changes mainly occurred due to the prevalence differences in the perception and experience of work from home, guided by the differences in cognitive and personal skills of employees, and also talking about the access to essential tools and facilities which are mandatory during the working from home, as stated by Galanti et al. 2021. The onset of COVID-19, which is frequently linked to psychological and mental health issues among workers or employees, is likely to influence the employees' productivity and reduce their capability to fully understand organizational work from home arrangements. The findings of recent studies have concluded that work from home as a paradigm shift has disrupted employees' boundaries and improved productivity and job satisfaction due to a reduction in stress, as stated by Bohora and Garg 2022. So one of the most effective, attractive features of work from home is, if you remember, is the reduction in traveling time to allow employees to spend more time with their families. For example, myself, when we were working from home before COVID-19, I commute. So it took about an hour from my home to my workplace. So when we were able to work from home, obviously we don't have to spend an hour, 2 hours in total in the car commuting. So thus gives us ample time or more time with our family at home. And obviously, there's also a reduction in environmental pressure due to limited use of carbon emitting vehicles. So the research contribution for this paper, one of it is to deepen our understanding of new work norms formed by investigating employees' perceptions and experiences of existing work from home arrangements. Other than that, we would also like to add on or to enrich the literature on employees' productivity by outlining the factors and competency pertinent to effectively work from home. So just a little um, literature review. The first one is conceptualizing the concept of working from home. So it was previously known as telework or telecommuting, as I mentioned earlier, and it started in the 1970s. It offered an innovative way to perform paid jobs from unconventional localities like homes. And these were usually given to women or mothers with young children at home. A few studies have also attempted to map the benefits of working from home and concluded that it allows employees to plan skills and also execute work during highly productive hours and select the suitable working environments and obviously accompany family members. The second literature review is looking at the paradigm shift of working from home amidst the pandemic. So we know that before the pandemic, it was only recognized as an indicator of work-life balance, reduced work stress, and also increased job satisfaction. But during the pandemic, it represents an entirely different work perspective due to the heterogeneous consequences of the pandemic, i.e., we were not allowed to be in a room closer to each other. due to the spread of the virus. And a global survey conducted by the International Labour Organization reported that the highest percentage of workers who had worked from home during the pandemic was surprisingly from the Eastern ASEAN. So we note that the work from home trend was substantially higher for employees in our region. So you can see from the figure here, it accounts for 36%, whereby the rest of the world is less than 15% even. Only the ones in Southern Asia is about 26%. And the third literature review is looking at the employees' perception of working from home during the COVID-19. So there's no mutual consensus among scholars, as some studies shows that work from home is perceived as stressful, it violates work-life boundaries, and negatively affects overall mental health. However, other studies observe that working from home is perceived as flexible, convenient, and matches people's current lifestyles. So we argue that employees' perception of work from home arrangements may allow organizations to identify and correct defects in the facilities and tools provided to effectively work from home, which eventually may materialize into productivity and job satisfactions amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. So we come up with this analytical framework whereby the figure shows that existing working from home arrangements of any organizations and their employees' perceptual attitudes are pivotal to the effectiveness functioning of these strategies during COVID-19. So next, we're going to look at the methodology that we adopted for this research. So we have the objective to evaluate the perceptual attitudes and experience of employees towards established work from home arrangements. So we have selected one organization in Brunei who was still practicing work from home arrangement during the interviews. And we conducted a structured interviews by interviewing 15 employees from different backgrounds and job scope, such as business analysts, marketers, retail staff, engineers, administration staff, and also senior executives. And this strategy was established because we want to include as much people from diverse backgrounds as possible. And we conducted a structured online interviews due to the restriction that we still have to adhere at that time. So the analysis based on the findings, based on from the interviews, we found that there are 4 themes that arise. The first one is organizational support, followed by personal factors, and then employee performance and transition to work from home. What was interesting from this analytical feature framework indicates that the perceptual attitudes of employees towards working from home during COVID-19 is determined by both positive and negative aspects. So if you can see from the figure, any factors that with an arrow upwards indicates positive aspect. Arrows pointing downwards, it indicates negative aspects. For the sake of the paper, we only concentrate on 2 themes, which are organizational support and personal factors. So moving on to the findings and discussions. The results of this study represent that organizational support is the first component of the framework to analyze the perceptual attitudes of employees towards working from home. The findings of this factor indicate that respondents held both positive and negative opinions about the influence of the organizational support in shaping the perception of working from home. So this allowed us to segregate organizational support factors into two themes, which are the first one is resource facilitation, as you can see here. So most of the participants revealed that organizational resources such as standardized working from home regulations, availability of tools, availability of tools such as fast internet, um, smartphones, computers, and also social networks such as WhatsApp, Google Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Teams. These are all essential to working from home. Um, and then this finding leads us to infer that effective resource facilitations to create standardized and flexible working from home protocols and the provision of essential tools to work from home positively interact with the perception of employees. However, having said that, a few respondents perceive that some of the organizational factors, such as the supervisor's trust, are the barriers to effectively work from home. The participants revealed that goal ambiguity, lack of supervisor support, and also communication complications are some of the main hurdles of working from home during the pandemic. So this finding implies that the perception of the supervisor's trust may serve as a barrier to the effective functioning of the working from home policy. The second findings are related to employees' perceptions about the role of personal factors in influencing their perceptions about working from home. The results identify that the themes of work-life integration and mental health impact represent the overall perceptual attitudes towards personal factors. You can see that for work-life integration, this is a positive contributor whereby factors such as comfortable working environment and work platforms powered by IT technologies are effective for working from home. However, the mental health impact indicated that the respondents or the participants stated they have a negative influence towards their perceptual attitudes of working from home because there are unclear boundaries leading to mental and physical burnout. Okay, so in conclusion, this research aims to understand the perceptual attitudes of employees towards working from home during COVID-19 pandemic. The perceptual attitudes are measured by assessing employees' experiences of organizational arrangements. So we employed a qualitative technique and conducted in-depth online interviews with 15 employees of a selected organization that was currently undergoing working from home at that time. The result indicate that four main factors were identified. We concentrate on the first two factors, which are organizational support and personal factors, to find that resource facilitation and work-life integration positively influence the perceptual attitudes of these components, whereas the supervisor support and mental health impact negatively the components of employees' perceptual attitudes. This shows that regardless of where an employee works, the organizational support that can include the spiritual aspect is also important in balancing the demands of work and life, especially during COVID-19 lockdown and working from home. So there are obviously limitations and future research that we can do from here. So limitations that we found was that there was no statistical evidence provided about the robustness of this model, whereas there are several scientifically tested models to analyze perceptual behaviors. Therefore, we would suggest that future studies will look into analyzing the perception and experience of working from home during the pandemic may use established behavioral framework or consider testing the validity of the model before operationalizing. Second one is that there is no comprehensive data collection. So future researchers may design a comprehensive research instrument to offer an inclusive understanding of work from home perceptions during the pandemic, since working from home and perceptual experiences are broad and multidimensional concepts, and some statements in the interviews may not fully represent or grasp the perceptions and experiences of the employees. And lastly, we use manual techniques to source the codes from the interview scripts, and it may overlook important aspects of behaviors that might result in different factors and themes. So future studies are encouraged to employ scientific data analysis software such as Atlas T or NVivo, so that the replication of results does not suffer from weak representation issues. So with that last slide, I thank you for listening and have a very good day. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.